The views and opinions of this program are those of the host, guests, and callers. There is substantial risk of loss in trading futures and options, which you should carefully consider prior to trading.
For over 95 years, we've set the bar. Power, we restored it. Protection, we reinvented it. Record yields, we redefined it. If there's one thing we know at FS, it's that just because something hasn't been done, doesn't mean it can't be done. We're never satisfied unless we take your farming operation to the next level. Run your equipment at peak efficiency and bust the bins this season. Visit fssystem.com.
Well, let's take a look at the market action for Thursday. Plenty of pressure in soybeans, bean meal, bean oil down, wheat under pressure. Corn, though, found some green on the screen, and another tough day in the cattle market ahead of Friday's cattle on feed report. We're going to talk about it, recap the trade action. Joining us now for market analysis here on Market Talk, as we're in Kansas City live. He is at his office in Wisconsin. Brian Doherty, Senior Market Advisor with Total Farm Marketing. Brian, good to talk with you, my friend, and another interesting day in this market trade on Thursday with corn finding strength. Soybeans were down sharply.
Yes, sir. Corn had an interesting reversal upward, but beans, you got a change in the forecast in South America, or we're putting rain in the forecast. I'm not sure it's a change. And it doesn't take long to kind of pull that rug from under the market there. It's had sort of a nice, gradual, lofty $1 to $1.20 gain in value in the futures. Not a shocker when there's a little bit more in the forecast for moisture that the market hits a sort of hits a wall and then has a tough down day. And I think there's two things going on in the soybean market. One is that up increase in precipitation for northern Brazil, but also I think U.S. farmers have been fairly aggressive rewarding this rally. It's one of the only bull markets around, and the lesson learned over the last 18 months is when rallies come, they go quicker often. So reward the rally, and I think farmers did that.
It's been, I think you are 100% right. That's a lot of the chatter I've been hearing too, is that farmers have just been taking advantage of the rally. And with soybeans, I think this just goes to show we got huge soybean export sales announced on Thursday morning, which we expected. But even with that, beans were down hard. And I think it goes to show the volatility of a weather market and a South American weather market that could play into things right now, Brian.
Yeah, for sure. And keep in mind, a lot of this buying lately has been to China. And so there are some skeptics out there. We saw this in the corn market last spring as well. China came in and bought corn, that sent a signal to the market, and then it looked like the South American crop was coming along okay, and they canceled those. So there's always that sort of concern that they could cancel. Now, with the president of China visiting the U.S., there's some hope there, but I don't know. When you kind of look at what the President Biden was saying, there is some skepticism as to his wording. So we'll see what happens. But hopefully steps in the right direction and more exports news to come. The corn market had a really nice number to deal with this morning and sort of kind of keep people aware. 71.2 million bushels today, Jesse, brings year-to-date total 831 million. Rounded up in that last million, 831. Last year, 626 million. So we're more than 200 million bushels ahead of last year's pace at this time. Keep in mind that the safrinha crop was large, but the market may be reflecting again some more near-term demand on what I'm going to call the value proposition. It's harvest. Prices are relatively cheap. Farmers selling is likely to dry up pretty soon. And when I say farmers selling, farmers that sold the overrun into the harvest.
No, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Brian. It's just this corn market did impress me quite a bit today. Just being able to kind of hold up here, and I know we put in looked like a key reversal early in the week, and so that's been something to watch here in December corn. I felt like.
Yeah, we put in not only a key reversal early in the week, but then today too, we put in what we call a hook reversal, where it went below yesterday's low, turned around, came higher. So you got a couple of signals there, some pretty strong overhead resistance just above where the market's at. If you're scoring it, let's say in the March contract, 497, that's the 50-day, 40-day moving averages, right up against the 21 and 10-day moving average. So it's got some areas to get through. If it could just kind of punch through there, then you might try and look for a move. You see December corn back to $5. See March up that 510, 515 area, but we need to break through that. the crop in Brazil, crop in Argentina. Remember, we have the USDA report last week, and no changes. So the governments in either the USDA or CONAB, the equivalent to the USDA in Brazil, they're not taking steps to really reduce crop yet. And I think the governments have kind of learned over the years, don't move too fast, and see how it actually pans out. But I think you've got some legitimate concerns that both the Brazilian bean crop will be down some, and the corn crop will be less than ideal start for the safrinha because they're late planting beans now.
I know coming up here just next week, we got December options expiration. Do you think farmers should be prepared for some market volatility with December options expiration coming up as well, Brian?
I think that that's possible, but I'm going to probably say not. I think we're going to see more of a sideways tightening trade pattern into the Thanksgiving holiday, and then the day, the last trading day for December options is Friday of next week, and my guess most traders will be out by Thursday. Our bias is I've been encouraging farmers to kind of stick with a negative bias through the use of options, and I think there'll be some rolls here. We'd like to get those December puts rolled out to March or May, or some fence strategies in the May, and so people know, well, why are you bearish? Not necessarily, but we always have to guard against lower prices in this environment. The second thing is we're defending the carry in the market, so that leaves good reason to not necessarily price cash, but defend with a put option, or buy put, sell a call.
Brian, over in the livestock markets too, I just want to ask you about cattle. We got a on-feed report coming up Friday afternoon. Pretty
Yeah.
big down day in both fats and feeders. I just wonder, there's a lot of chatter of another big placements number coming up on this Friday report. So maybe was this the market? Was this funds and traders trying to price the potential of that bigger placements number into the market ahead of the report?
It could be. I think the underlying factor is not so much a big placement number, because the placement number will be relative to a year ago, which was a low placement number. So
Sure,
so
sure.
it's not like the cattle herd has suddenly shifted and we have all these cattle coming out of nowhere. Um, and there's lots of research that points toward more imports from Canada and Mexico, and those may be showing up as part of the placements too. I guess part of me says it doesn't really matter. It's a North American cattle herd, um,
Hmm.
and it's just where they shift them and where they show up on reports. I want to say the cattle market is probably, from my perspective, maybe a little more reflective lately, I think, of just general economic concerns and economic slowdowns. And you've got the Christmas season coming up. And if you read between the lines and read journals like I do, the consumer debt is on the rise, and people are spending money on their credit cards. And all of a sudden, steak is expensive, beef is expensive relative to all other meats. So I think it's more of a sign of weaker economic conditions everywhere. And I think it's more of a sign of maybe growing concern that the um, robust imports from China and elsewhere, they're not there. China's housing economy continues to struggle.
Hmm.
So I think that's the bigger picture perspective, not so much that all of a sudden magically we found a bunch of cattle in placements and on feed numbers. And we'll see. Last month the number was high. I think that was a shift in placements during the time of month that showed up on that report.
Good thoughts, and I know we kind of hit the high points here today while I'm at the NAFB convention, but I think just in general, risk management, I think there needs to be some degree of risk management across the board here as we enter the Thanksgiving time frame and end of the year. Farmers are wrapping up fall harvest, and I'd say we don't want to lose sight of good risk management principles here in this time frame as we near the end of the year, right, Brian?
Exactly. And so let's just hit on what some of the highlights we talked about. There's carry in the corn market. You can defend that while waiting for better basis. There's a bean market that's made a good rally. You can defend that or reward that market. And then we talked about the cattle. They've tipped over. They've tried to rally back but we've talked all the way on the way up on this rally. Continue to be defensive minded with the use of puts, leave the top side open. Still going to tackle the market that way too, because we want to leave that top side open. But nonetheless, we always have to be prepared that markets go down. It seems like a lot faster and a lot more frequent than they go up. It takes a long time to go up. They call it the stair step up and elevator down. So defensive minded, look for opportunities. The cattle market's down today. Okay, we take our breath and figure out what strategy can we best approach the market tomorrow. And the point of it is the market is at a price, and tomorrow's a new day. The price is going to go up or down. How do we handle that?
Definitely. Any other final thoughts? Anything else we didn't touch on today that you want to mention here before we run out of time today, Brian?
Well, one, wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. So
Yeah.
we usually do this show on Thursday, and the markets are closed next Thursday. So I'm guessing you and I won't do this show. So from me, happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Keep things safe, travel safe, slow down a little bit. You'll get there. I think from the marketing perspective, we didn't touch on it, but start watching and looking at 2024 for opportunities. You've got December corn near $5.15 a bushel, and you got November beans near $13 a bushel. And start using that maybe as a point of pivot. That is, start selling into that, or look at strategies to defend that. If prices go higher, then build that price higher, build an average higher. One thing I can tell you this for sure: if somebody said to me today, "Well, if I sold some beans, I might get the lowest price for the year." Well, if you look at that November contract, without taking up too much time here, the low for the November 24 contract came at 11.16 on May 31st of this past year. We're just under 13. So you can't sell the low if you sell some here. Is my point.
Good thoughts. And I know if folks have questions, they can reach out to you and the team there at Total Farm Marketing very easily. How can they get a hold of you, Brian?
Yes, just call our 800 number. We've got great staff that picks up the phone, and they can patch you through to myself or any of my colleagues. And that number is 800-334-9779. Or if you want to send me an email, always enjoy those as well. Brian with a Y at totalfarmmarketing.com. And then check out our website, totalfarmmarketing.com.
Brian, I will wish you and your family a happy Thanksgiving as well. Thanks as always for joining us on Market Talk and giving us your time and expertise. We do value it, and thank you, and enjoy the holidays, and we'll talk to you in a couple of weeks. Thanks so much.
Yes, sir. Always a pleasure. Thank you, Jesse. Happy
Brian
Thanksgiving.
Doherty. Yes, Brian Doherty with Total Farm Marketing joining us here today on Market Talk. That's going to do it for the show. Find us at markettalkag.com. I'm Jesse Allen. Have a great afternoon.